So, cybersecurity in 2026 is not about who can hack the hardest. It's about who can log in and look normal doing it. And that's why FedScoop wrote this particular piece. And they're basically saying that identity is the definitive defense for federal agencies. I personally think for everyone. So what that means is that the network perimeter or the castle wall isn't the main thing anymore because we're not all sitting in the office. We're not all sitting in one building. We're not all sitting on the same network. We're at home. We're at the dealership. We're picking up our kids in the pickup line. We're doing a bunch of different things. And so the wall basically has doors everywhere. So the real question becomes, who are you? Are you really you? What are you allowed to touch? And should we trust this sign in right now? And that is what we think about from an identity perspective. So if you're trying to break in to tech security, identity intra, we have Active Directory. What are some other identity provider solutions? Okta,
Duo,
Ping,
Ping.
just to get your head thinking. So attackers love identity because they don't always need some fancy exploit, which is typically what we see with CVEs. So if they can basically steal a session, if they can hijack a token, if they can phish a login, or basically bother you enough, which we call fatigue, into approving a MFA prompt, they're in. And once they're in as a real user, and everything that they do basically will look legitimate until it's too late. Now, the article is pointing out that AI makes this mess worse because social engineering gets faster and more believable, which means that the scam basically is able to sound cleaner or more realistic. So, with that, the timing of this gets smarter, the volume of things go up. So, we can't keep defending like we're still basically in 2016. So, what do you do? What they're saying is to push a more dynamic identity setup, which I agree with. So, from an identity governance perspective, making sure people only have what they need and access gets removed when role changes. You would be surprised at how many people don't do this. When roles get changes, reassess those roles that you have permission to. The second is behavior checks. Is this normal for this user? I'm going to give an example. If I never log in after 5 o'clock and then suddenly I'm logging in at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., 12 a.m., that should ring a bell or alarm in your EUBA, entity user behavior. Is it analysis system? It should ring that. Number 3 is adaptive access. If the risk looks too high, set up the verification or block it. So if the risk is too high, I might be required to perform another factor of authentication, or I might be blocked altogether because it's just too suspicious and that risk is too high. Now, why I think that this is important is if identity is weak, your whole environment is essentially mushy. The bottom line is security isn't just lock the network, it is actually controlling the identity and the access, because if the attacker can sign in like you, your tools are working against you. So when we think about zero trust, there are 3 core principles. If you know what the 3 principles are, what does this article highlight? Which one of those 3 core principles? We have verify explicitly, we have assume breach, and what's the third one? Why am I having a brain fart? Verify explicitly, assume breach, and least privilege access. So yeah, what do you think about that? It's conditional access. That's basically what they're talking about, and PIM and things like that. So if you work in an organization on the identity side, do you guys have dynamic conditional access policies in place? What do they look like? Are you blocking requests? Are you requiring them to perform additional methods to prove that they are exactly who they say that they are?
Yeah, that's what you say, UBA, and then you got RBA, risk-based alerting, where it's going to notify you. A lot of tools got it built in inherently because of that. But one of the things you brought up, people still don't address in organizations, is MFA fatigue. I believe that's how Uber was hacked a couple of years ago.
And the thing is that this is what I think the issue is. I think that it's a thing, but I think that we have to remember to include in our end user training these things that change, right? So not only do we have to teach our users how to set up MFA, now we need to teach them about what MFA fatigue is and how to report an MFA request that they receive that is not them. So just take it serious. is the moral to the story there.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's some stuff that I can actually say on that, but it'll be pretty cool. But I will say companies are finally upgrading the way that they have people learn about security threats and security awareness to keep them more engaged, to make it fit today's times versus that same thing you do
from the 90s, something
every
boring.
every quarter, every 6 months. It's the same thing. We just going our way through and like, hey, like, so they're changing that. So I will say that is cool on their end. Let me see, because I got some cool stuff for y'all guys. I decided to make this a little bit more interactive, and we're probably gonna drop the link in a bit and have some fun. And if people that rock with us and are still watching the show and y'all up, we'll let y'all come up. But let's see what else we got.